Carol Ann Duffy's Map Woman is probably the longest poem in the Edexcel collection. I don't think it's overly complex, but the narrative is sustained and lengthy. The themes connected to the poem that remind me of the other poems are body, the past, but here we see a negative relationship, kind of escaping or trying to escape. Those are all some of the themes. It's an extended metaphor of one's past or the world that surrounds them actually being integrated or drawn in the skin. These 10-line stanzas it gives the feeling of control. For me, it reminds me of a map and structure, and it's something I feel like the speaker's trying to escape, but, well, structural arguments are always a little bit difficult to make. Well, let's see. A woman's skin was a map of the town where she'd grown from a child. So here we just get the metaphor laid out. The skin was a map. Not like a map, was a map. When she went out, she covered it up with a dress, with a shawl, with a hat, mitts or a muff, with leggings, trousers or jeans, with an ankle-length cloak, hooded and fingertip sleeved. But birthmark tattoo, the A to Z street map grew. A precise second skin, broad if she binged, thin when she slimmed, a précis of where to end or go back or begin. Duffy is strong at alliteration and slant rhyme. I think that's the phrase I want to use, but the rhymes in the line, binged, slimmed, the repetition of sounds to create that pattern, that's that fun sense of a continuing idea, these lists, ways to hide. She's trying to hide who she is, and it's failing because this map keeps growing and it's becoming a second skin. Over her breast was the heart of the town, from the marketplace to the picture house, by way of St. Mary's Church, a triangle of alleys and streets and walks. Her veins like shadows below the lines of the map, the river an artery snaking north to her neck. She knew if you crossed the bridge at her nipple, took a left and a right, you would come to the graves, the gray-haired teachers of English and history, the soldier boys, the mayors and counselors. Here we really get the metaphor being extended. Her actual body is melding with landmarks. The beloved mothers and wives, the nuns and priests, their bodies fading into the earth like old print on a page. You could sit on a wooden bench as a wedding pair ran ringed from the church, confetti skittering, what a great verb, over the marble stones, a big bell hammering hail from the sky, and wonder who you would marry, and how and when and where and when you would die. So here's the problem. If any of you are from a small town, you can start to feel trapped. It's wonderful to have history and the detail and the specificity of knowing your town. But you're wondering, like, your whole narrative is set out for you. And how, not only who you're going to marry, but how it's going to all end. You feel trapped. Or find yourself in the coffee house nearby waiting for time to start. Your tiny face trapped in the window's bottle thick glass like a fly, and there we have it, trapped. And the simile, you're an insect, you're contained, you can see, but you can't go. All your life is set up for you. And that's really the emotion that this speaker is starting to suffer under. And who might you see short-cutting through the grove to the square? That line there, the edge of a fingernail pressed on her flesh. She's always reminding you it's her body. It's reminding you of the body. So the narrative links with the body throughout this poem. In the rain, leaving your empty cup to hurry on after calling their name. When she showered, I should have said, it's third person, so it gives us an idea of a separate, viewed narrative, like we're watching something together almost with the speaker. When she showered, the map gleamed on her skin, blue-black ink from a nib. She knew you could scoot down Greengate Street, huddled close to the High House, the Sensible Shops, the Swan Hotel, till you came to the Picture House, sat in the musty dark watching the Beatles. So now we get a sense of escape. And we're going to get that through movies, music, pop culture. Okay? Art and pop culture provides the escape. Watching the Beatles run for a train, or Dustin Hoffman screaming, "Elaine, Elaine, Elaine," or The Spaceman in 2001 floating to Strauss. So these are all famous movies. If you need to know, that's Hard Day's Night, Hard Day's Night. That's The Graduate, and then, of course, Stanley Kubrick's 2001. All really popular films in the late 60s, so we get that sense. Now here, more importantly, we start to see her relationship with the map of the town. She sponged, soaped, scrubbed, okay? It goes from gentle to rough. And that's her feeling towards this map. She needs to rid herself of it. The prison and hospital stamped on her back. The park neat on her belly, her navel marking the spot where the empty bandstand stood. The river again, heading south, clear as an operation scar. The Moore Memorial facing the railway station where trains sighed on the platforms, pining. Now she wants to go. She's yearning for somewhere else. She wants to leave this place. She knew you could stand on the railway bridge waving goodbye to strangers who stared as you vanished into the belching steam, tasting future time on the tip of your tongue. She plays at departure. That's funny. Wonderful belching steam, tasting the future on your tongue. She could say goodbye, pretend that she was leaving. She knew you could run the back way home. There it was on her thigh, taking the southern road, then cutting. See, again, she reminds you that it's her body. The big house is anchored behind the calm green lawns, the jewels of Congress falling down on your feet, the duck and dive down Nelson and Churchill and Kipling and Milton Way until you were home. Again, there's no sense, this is still wonderful details that are specific enough that don't give us the indication that this speaker hates it. It's just not where she wants to be. She didn't live there now, so now we get time shift. So even though she's gone, it's still on her skin. She lived down south, abroad, en route, up north, on a plane or train or boat, on the road, in hotels, in the back of cabs, on the phone. So look at that list. Displaces us. But the map was under her stockings, under her gloves, under the soft silk scarf at her throat, under the chiffon veil, a delicate braille. The map was the writing, in a way, of her life. And it's delicate, like it's very soft. indentation, like Braille. Her left knee marked the grid of her own estate. When she knelt, she felt her father's house pressing into the bone, heard in her head the looped soundtrack of then. Tennis ball repeatedly thumping a wall, an ice cream van crying and hurrying on, a snarl of children's shrieks from the overgrown land where the houses ran off. Here is the sounds now. The sounds of this place. The motorway groaned just out of sight. She knew you could hitch from Junction 13 and knew of a girl who had not been seen since she did, so the fear and danger of leaving as well. She had heard of a kid who'd run across all 6 lanes for a dare before he was tossed by a lorry. So this is all the dangers of leaving. But the motorway was flowing away. It was a roaring river of metal and light. Cheerio! Au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, ciao. Here's languages and the world and freedom. She stared in the mirror as she got dressed, both arms raised over her head, the roads for east and west running from shoulder to wrist, the fuzz of woodland or countryside under each arm. Only her face was clear, her fingers smoothing in cream, her baby blue eyes unsure as they looked in themselves, but her body was certain, an inch to the mile, knew every nook and cranny, cul-de-sac style, back road, high road, low road, one-way street of her past. It's her body, is intimate with the past. But not her face. It's just what's on her body. There it all was, back to front in the glass. She piled on linen, satin, silk, leather, wool, perfume, mousse, and went out. So she's still trying to cover it up. She got in a limousine. The map perspired under her clothes. She took a plane. The map seethed on her flesh. She spoke in a foreign tongue. The map translated everything back to herself. What a great line. So she adapts. Her past adapts too. And what we see is it doesn't just have the power of on her skin. It's taking her tongue as well. She turned out the light, and a lover's hands caressed the map in the dark from north to south. Lost tourists wandering here and there, all fingers and thumbs as their map flapped in the breeze. So even in sex, it's visible in a way to touch. So it's not just visible. I mean, it's not just for the eyes. It's for the other senses as well. So one day, wondering where to go next, she went back, drove a car for a night and a day, till the town appeared on her left. So she returns. The stale cake of the castle crumbled up on the hill, and she hired a room with a view and soaked in the bath. When it grew dark, she went out, thinking she knew the place like the back of her hand, but something was wrong. She got lost in arcades and streets with new names and precincts and walkways, and found that what was familiar was only facade. So it's an illusion. There is change. Things are different now. Back in her hotel room, she stripped and lay on the bed. As she slept, her skin sloughed like a snake's, so slipped off. Like a snake's skin. The skin of her legs like stockings, all these similes. Silvery sheer like the long gloves on the skin of her arms. The paper camisole from her chest, a perfect match for the tissuey socks of the skin of her feet. Her sleep peeled her, lifted a honeymoon thong from her groin. I mean, that's just really funny. A delicate bra of skin from her breast, and all of it patterned A to Z. A small cross where her parents' skulls grinned at the dark. Her new skin showed barely a mark. So she is finally removed the past, and it becomes a map. It is a map that she can look at and see, and she can see her parents' death, the past, all these places leave her skin. And she looks at it as if it's a map, maybe as if it's this poem itself. Is it this poem? home?" he asks provocatively. She woke and spread out the map on the floor. What was she looking for? Her skin was her own small ghost. That's a wonderful image. This 3D map is a ghost, shroud to be dead in, a newspaper for old news to be read in, gift wrapping, litter, a suicide letter. All these comparisons are suggestive of other ways of thinking about her body. She left it there, so she abandons it. Because that's what she wants to do. She doesn't want it anymore. Dress, checked out, got in the car. As she drove, the town in the morning sun glittered behind her. So she's leaving it. She ate up the miles, but her skin itched, like a rash, like a slow burn, felt stretched as though it belonged to someone else. Deep in the bone, old streets tunneled and burrowed, hunting for home. It's this last line that's just remarkable. So it's not just in the skin, but beneath, in the bone itself. They're tunneling, burrowing, hunting for home. Her body needs a place. And she doesn't have it anymore. This old past is gone. It doesn't make sense. Things have changed. She doesn't even recognize it. She gets lost. So she can discard this past. But what happens is she feels great for just a second, because as she drives away, there's something deep inside of her burrowing, tunneling, demanding, a place to be safe, protected, and unified, I would say. So this is a really long poem as a narrative that's fairly simple, but it's the journey there that I think is interesting and worthwhile to look at.